19. Not 18, not 20. Exactly 19. You have recited the phrase your entire life, before eating, before traveling, before opening the Quran, and you never counted it. Bismillah ir-Raḥmān ir-Raḥīm. In Arabic, it contains exactly 19 letters. And here is what no one tells you at the beginning. This number does not just sit quietly at the start of Revelation. It appears again, explicitly in Surah Al-Muddathir, chapter 74, verse 30. عَلَيْهَا تِسْعَةَ عَشَرَ. Over it are 19. You were told this referred to angels guarding hell. But what if 19 is more than a head count? What if it is a structural key? And if that is true, what exactly have you been opening every time you say Bismillah?
You know Bismillah as a blessing, a beginning, a formula of mercy. But structurally, it is something else. It is the threshold of the Quran. Out of 114 surahs, 113 begin with Bismillah ir-Raḥmān ir-Raḥīm. The only exception is Surah At-Tawbah. Yet, Surah An-Naml contains it twice, once at the beginning and once in verse 30 inside the letter of Prophet Sulaiman. Total occurrences in the Quran, 114. Not random, not approximate, exactly 114. And 114 is 19 multiplied by 6. You could say that is coincidence, but consider this. The first revelation, Surah Al-Alaq, consists of 19 verses. Surah 96, the beginning. And Surah 74, where the number 19 is explicitly mentioned, is the fourth surah revealed chronologically according to most classical scholars, including Ibn Kathir and Al-Suyuti. You begin to see a pattern. 19 frames the beginning, and Bismillah, the 19-letter phrase, stands at the doorway of nearly every chapter. Imagine walking into a vast library. Every book begins with the same code etched above the door. You would not ignore it. You would ask why. But because you have recited it thousands of times, you stopped seeing it. Familiarity made it invisible. Yet the architecture was always there.
Now here is where the pattern deepens. In 1974, an Egyptian biochemist named Dr. Rashad Khalifa published research proposing that the Quran is structured around a mathematical code based on the number 19. His claims were controversial, and many of his theological conclusions were rejected by mainstream scholars. But the raw numerical observations forced a question. The total number of surahs, 114. 114 equals 19 times 6. The total number of verses in Surah Al-Fatiha, 7. But the number of letters in Bismillah ir-Raḥmān ir-Raḥīm, 19. Now look at Surah 74, where 19 is mentioned. That surah contains 56 verses. 56 equals 19 times 2 plus 18. At first glance, nothing remarkable. But verse 30, the verse that says, "Over it are 19, is positioned within a passage discussing divine measurement and warning. And we have not made their number except as a trial for those who disbelieve, 74:31. A trial. Layer after layer, the text calls attention to the number itself. And then something happened. Researchers began counting. The word Allah appears in the Quran 2,698 times, according to traditional counts used in certain early printed editions. 2,698 divided by 19 equals 142. Exactly. The word Raḥmān appears 57 times. 57 equals 19 times 3. The word Raḥīm appears 114 times. 114 equals 19 times 6. Now pause. Allah, Raḥmān, Raḥīm. The three names embedded Allah, each one aligning with 19-based multiples in traditional counts. Is this selective counting? Some argue yes. Is there debate over orthographic variations? Absolutely. But here is what cannot be denied. The Quran itself draws attention to 19. It does not hide the number, it highlights it. And when a text highlights a number, you investigate it. Layer after layer, the structure appears deliberate.
Here is what the numbers alone cannot tell you. Why 19? Why not 10, the number of completion in many traditions? Why not 7, the number so deeply embedded in Islamic cosmology? 7 heavens, 7 earths, 7 verses of Al-Fatiha. Yet here, at the gateway of revelation, the number is 19. 19 is prime. It cannot be broken down except by one and itself, indivisible, mathematically resistant. If 7 symbolizes harmony, 19 symbolizes irreducibility. And every surah, every chapter, begins with a 19-letter phrase invoking divine unity and mercy. There is a surah for the night you feel abandoned. There is a surah for the morning you feel hopeful. There is a surah for law, for war, for marriage, for grief. And each one, almost without exception, begins with the same 19-letter invocation, as if the entire revelation is filtered through a numerical gate. Now consider this. The Quran was revealed over 23 years, gradually, situationally, in response to events. And yet its final compiled form contains patterns that span from the first revelation to later Medinan chapters. This is not how chaotic speech behaves. This is not how improvised text behaves. This is architecture. Not just spiritual guidance, structural design. And the design begins with 19.
So, where does this leave you? You have a 19-letter phrase at the start of nearly every chapter. You have 114 chapters, 19 multiplied by 6. You have Surah 74 explicitly declaring the number 19 and calling it a trial. You have key divine names aligning with 19-based multiples in traditional counts. A skeptic will say, patterns can be found anywhere if you look hard enough. A believer will say, patterns of this scale require intention. Both are looking at the same numbers. Both are being confronted by the same structure. The question is not whether 19 exists in the Quran. It does. The question is why the Quran itself draws attention to it. Why place the number in the text? Why make it explicit? Why connect it to trial, measurement, and certainty? Perhaps because the Quran is not only read, it is examined, not only recited, but decoded. And every time you say Bismillah, you are unconsciously stepping through a numerical doorway you were never taught to notice.
But here's the part that remains unresolved. If 19 is a key, it is not a key that unlocks everything. The Quran does not explain it fully. It points to it, and then it leaves you there. Perhaps that is precisely the point, a sign that forces you to choose between dismissal and reflection. So the next time you say, Bismillah, ir-Raḥmān, ir-Raḥīm, will it sound the same? Or will you hear the number hidden inside it?